We're excited to welcome Nick Vuijicic to the stage.
Hello. It is a privilege and honor to be here. I'm going to take every minute that I can that's given here of the 30 minutes. I want to say it's an honor and a privilege and a blessing to be here. Thank you for attending. Thank you, Charlie Kirk. Thank you, TPUSA, and all your team. And I want to honor a couple people here as well. Pastor Rob McCoy, I know you're here. We love you. God bless you. Thank you for being the champion that you are for Jesus Christ. Jack Hibbs is in the house. I've been watching Jack Hibbs religiously since January 2020. We have a legend as well in our midst, Joseph Bondarenko at the very front. We were in Ukraine preaching the gospel to 800,000 people, of which 400,000 gave their life to Jesus Christ, and at the same time, with no advertising interruption in 2017, 52.7 million people heard the gospel of Jesus Christ across 16 nations. We have some legends in the house. Victor Marx, dear friend of mine. I love that man. I'm not going to go on to who else I'm really dear friends with, but I want to say I love you. Thank you for coming. God bless you. Please pray for the sleeping pastors and those that are more crippled than a limbless man. I want you to know that today, this is not a normal message that I would normally give. This is obviously succinct to the mission and objectives that God has called us to be faithful stewards of. If there was one word that I could title this would be basically true stewardship. We're boarding the battleship of stewardship, period. I'm so glad to see Angel Barnett, huge fans of what you guys have done in LA with the Dream Center. I'm coming to your church this weekend out in Arizona. And in all of our mission fields, in all of our callings, I as an evangelist prominently ordained by by some elders as a minister of the gospel since age 19 in Australia, 2002. I've now had the privilege to be stewarding the platform that God has given us and our very life. I want to show you the most important thing about the very breath that I breathe. Apart from the breath that I breathe to be good stewards of, I want to quickly show you a photo. This is my wife and I. We've been married now for 10 years. Kanae. It's amazing to have her in my life. She's changed my life, always will be my number one above everyone else, right under Jesus Christ himself. We've been through a lot. We've been through a really difficult 3 years straight, and it actually didn't really have anything to do with our marriage. It's all about what I'm about to tell you, what happened in the last 3 years of our lives. And then we have these 4 beautiful children. Everything we do, everything we steward is for the future of these 4 children. And me and my wife, we are praying about when we're to adopt from the foster kids system as well. That also needs our help. I could give you 6 different sermons today. But there's Kiyoshi, Dayan, Olivia, and Ali, 9, 6, and 4.5-year-old twin girls. Thank you. As a minister of the gospel, I've now been able to meet 22 presidents, including President Donald Trump, and I was just with Benjamin Netanyahu 10 weeks ago, as looking like they're going to win like a landslide for Israel. We're praying that Benjamin Netanyahu wins. And there is an open revolving door in government systems for this limbless man to go into education systems. I'm in a mandatory textbook of India in multiple year levels. So as an evangelist, meeting 22 presidents, speaking in front of 10 governments, and 3,500 stages, in person, 9.9 million. 1.1 million gave their life to Jesus Christ through the ministry of Life Without Limbs. Broadcasting on live secular television to 733 million people globally in the last 20 years. It costs us 2 cents to preach the gospel to somebody, and we have a lean teen of 15. We are so blessed to preach the gospel. Outside of the 733 million, I've had the privilege of being to China 40 times. I'm the most trusted foreign speaker in the history of Chinese government in the last 20 years. They invite me to live stream into their university campuses because of their crazy suicide rates that were happening in 2008. They allow me to fill up stadiums of up to 80,000 people in China. I've been to China 40 times. I've been around the world. It's been awesome. But man, what an exciting time to be alive, and what a country to be a citizen of. I'm going to tell you right now, so there's two things I'm just going to preface and then dive into exactly what I'm supposed to be saying. I think the wake up of pastors in America will happen in about 12 to 16 months from now. That will actually be the unfolding and the aha of the already conditioned priming of us human beings worldwide, preparing for something called food shortage or protein shortage, where the churches actually should have realized that we should have already had on every backyard of a church building and every backyard of a Christian school in America, we should have been growing food. Whole different seminar. Another one is I'm actually already officially told my Facebook followers and Instagram followers of 14 million social media fans that I am leaving Facebook and I am leaving Instagram for my 40th birthday. So this coming 4th of December, I'm going to switch off my pages. I was the most engaged Facebook page in the world in 2013. I went viral on YouTube in 2006. YouTube couldn't handle what God gave us to do. As a global speaker, you can share knowledge. But let me just tell you, if I ever ran for presidency, which I'm not, I would make sure that everything that comes from my mouth and every word that comes up here, TPUSA, that comes out of people's mouths, it's one dimension of change to move people in knowledge. If it is not translated, it's one-dimensional. If you actually Google how many different people in America do not speak English, 70% of school students in Dallas speak Spanish at home. So when you actually look up the top 36 languages that are spoken in the world, you're actually reaching 85%. We need to come together, not just here in California and not just here in America, but there are many presidents that are not woke. There are many education systems that are not woke. And there are many people who are understanding, as Jack Hibb says, that the UN is nothing more than a united nothing. And it's this unification where I want you to think globally for a second. Sub-Saharan Africa, in my opinion, in 10 years is going to be known as a refuge for persecuted Christians worldwide. Brazil. That's what I'm seeing. And so when we actually look at not just food shortages and everything that we're talking about, it's got to be the power of speaking in tongues. And it's the reversal of the division. It's not just unity, it's not just fake news versus true news. It's when you open your mouth, you're speaking 36 languages. How on earth can Benjamin Netanyahu sleep at night when he's posting, you're cornered on social media to only do live videos? I'm not going to get into the algorithms. Live videos are in Hebrew, translated, subtitled Hebrew. Shouldn't everything that comes out of Benjamin Netanyahu's mouth should also be translated in English? Or 36 languages? There is this untapped power of thinking, of seeing the global perspective of our own parallel network of many things. And that's the communication, digital communication. So I'm stepping off Facebook, I'm stepping off Instagram, I'm going to be only found on nickv.network. That's also going to mitigate the risk of deep fake. that's being polished right now. So much about the digital communication, so much about every single person that's up on here that really should be translating into every single. I think we're underestimating the Korean church in America. I think we're underestimating the Chinese church in America. I think we're underestimating what 10,000 Hispanic churches can do under the leadership of Sam Rodriguez. I think we are not yet unified. We aren't. Not for this battle. Sorry, you're not. So I before the Lord, I'm asking you, reach out to the local Korean, Hispanic, Chinese, Portuguese, Urdu. Have you heard of Urdu? 8th biggest speaking language in Texas. I never even heard of Urdu. It's a Pakistani Indian. Put all that aside. I'm here today to talk about the financial ecosystem in the context of imagining your church, imagining your Christian school, your bank freezes you. Imagine the shock pre-Roe v. Wade overturning, pre-big bank saying, we'll pay $40,000 for any of our employees to go on a plane, go to California and have your abortion. Now you've been educated that most banks actually give to abortion providers that we knew pre-Roe v. Wade overturned, because in Santa Barbara there was a beautiful, beautiful ministry that still exists, Network Medical in Santa Barbara. Can you turn me down? I feel so loud because I just want to be able to let it go. So just turn me down so I can turn me up. Thank you. Santa Barbara is one of the most densely populated, evil per capita, death culture is amazing. Network Medical helped abortion-determined women get a free ultrasound. 7 out of 10 afterward would therein choose life. In 2015, I spoke for that gala. I met, at that time, CEO Betsy Gray. I knew God is going to provide a platform for me to, as a temporary tent dying with no arms, no legs, as a draw card and a poster child for pro-life. Wondering who God would use to make that happen in America. I knew this at age 19. Anti-bullying on education systems and pro-life. And so I told Betsy, I said, Betsy, I know you're the person. We're going to do some things together for the Lord, in Him, through Him, for Him, for pro-life. She said, great. 3 years later, fantastic prayer intercessor warrior for me. 2018, they get a huge donation. God says, try find a bank or a credit union in Santa Barbara that does not give to an abortion-providing nonprofit organization. Every single credit union, every single bank in 2018 proudly professed that they actually do this incredible philanthropy for women who have a choice for abortion. Not one bank. She fell on her face, weeping on her knees. God, forgive us. Forgive America. Forgive us. What would you have us to do? And he said to her, start my bank, Pro-Life Bank. She calls me, she says, hey, I'm starting God's bank. I'm like, cool. She said, it's called Pro-Life Bank. I said, cool. She said, I want you on some phone calls with some billionaires. I said, I don't know anything about the banking industry. She said, I know, but you're one of the smartest, creative minds that I've ever met in my life, and your backbone in financial. I've got a double degree in accounting and financial planning. I was an options day trader at age 17. I went into real estate at age 19. I'm a mathematician. She says, just come on the calls. So we did 15 calls with these people in Santa Barbara, and I said, Betsy, you just need someone, February 2019, you need someone to drive this. I mean, this is like an uphill walk, pulling an ox and fighting with the sword ahead. I mean, like, you need someone. She said, yeah, it's you. I said, no. She said, yeah, pray about it. 2 weeks later, she said, God said, yes. I said, let him tell me. And in March 2019, a really cool board member, Paul Saber, actually, right hand of Billy Graham for many years, and then just finished a circuit of speaking with Franklin Graham at every single capital across America to tell legislation to honor God with the laws. So Paul Saber says in March 2019, where's Nick's voice for pro-life? And I said, well, we have 100,000 churches that actually represent, how much was it? 100,000 churches that represent in the hundreds of millions of dollars of debt for buildings. I don't remember the number now. And I said, there's only 100,000 churches, 500,000 kids waiting for a foster home or a forever home. Imagine if Roe v. Wade is overturned. Now we got a problem if we can't handle 500,000 kids. And you know what he said? Well, that sounds great, but we don't have any time. So me and my wife, we prayed, God, if you want to use us to be your hands and feet, stand in front of the gates of hell and redirect traffic, continue to preach the gospel to all the nations, great. But to now step onto the battlefield of life, we're ready. Within 16 weeks, there was a previous employee that falsely accused me of something, published it in a LGBTQ plus magazine, saying that I fired him for being gay. And I want you to know that from that article, there was a ripple effect. So our ministry, I'm a CEO, I'm on a healthy salary for the ministry, but the ministry don't even pay for my caregivers, which basically is 70% of my salary. So God opened up a tent making business called Motivational Speaking to be able to go and meet people in Russia, Iran, Qatar, Dubai, and all these places to become the #1 motivational speaker under age 40. Under that, I got $300,000 worth of contracts canceled after that article was out. I'm not saying that everything was from this article, but can I just say this? It was definitely because we prayed a prayer to say, God, here we are, let's go on the battlefield for life and the sanctity of life, okay? So within the 16 weeks, we also found a grenade at our property in California here. I was here for 20 years before we moved out. November 2019, Holy Spirit said, get out of California, get out now. We told everyone in 2019 in November, we're out and we're out now. We moved to Dallas, the United States of Texas. Grenade, spying drone, a lawsuit from someone in Ukraine, 3 years of battle, 6 figures of legal fees. I was found not guilty for what he accused me of. You think I'm going to get my 6 figures back? No. Plus other things all happening at the same time. And then I wake up and my credit card is frozen, my debit card is frozen, and my bank won't talk to me. We won't talk to you. We can't talk to you. I said, what do you mean you can't talk to me? I'm your customer. 15 years. Long relationship. Multiple accounts. What do you mean you're not going to talk to me? I go to the branch. I said, your bank doesn't want to talk to me. What do you mean they don't want to talk to you? Well, let's call. They pick up the phone. They talk. 2 minutes later, they said, we can't talk to you. I said, what do you mean? They said, they can't even talk to us. I said, what is going on? They said, you need to leave the premise. A letter is coming. I get a letter. We reviewed who you are as a customer. And we don't want anything to do with you. You have 30 days. Hey, April 2019. This is way before someone said cancel culture. 30 days to find a bank. If you don't find a bank, we'll take your money. So I called some friends. We have some friends. And I said, hey, this happened. Am I on a list in DC? Like, did they find some fingerprints? Oh, I tell you, I got some Visa stories. I got some Visa stories. And they said, you're not. I said, okay, open up another bank who's even more evil than that bank. And I settled down. My credit score, you know how you got 3 credit score bureaus? 2 of them didn't even recognize me. I was a dash. Dash. Try actually functioning on a for-profit level, on a cash flow level, with no cash, with no credit line frozen, everything done. 2019. And when the dust settled down, then God said, "Are you now ready to start my bank with Betsy, my bank called Pro-Life Bank?" And I said, "Yes, I am. I am." Look, my parents, listen, man, my parents were in refugee camps. My mom was 6 when the government took over their home. Kicked them out of there, crossed the Austrian Alps, went to Australia with nothing. We know what tyranny is. We know you have as many passports as you can because you just never know. I would hate to be living in Australia. I feel like shredding my passport with what they've done down there. Not as bad as Canada. Not as bad as Canada. But I'll tell you right now, the financial ecosystem is everything. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you say. If you can't function and you don't have a financial ecosystem and you have no bank, welcome to Canada right now with hundreds of thousands of people who, because they actually gave to the truckers, they can't have a bank. What do you think they're going to do? Do all that they can to get out. Today, the financial ecosystem, I want you to know that this is the movement. Pro-Life Bank is not foolish or naive to believe that we're an answer. We are a small part in what God wants to do with like-minded believers who will actually reinvent a parallel system, an association or affiliation program of Conservative Bankers of America or like-minded, kingdom-minded, faith-minded, I don't know, whatever you want to say, because we actually are just learning the power that we have just through the fact that you don't choose where your 401k goes. It's actually being invested to actually continue the agenda of the woke. Do you know how much wealth there is in the world held by Christians? 40 trillion. Do you know how much of 40 trillion worldwide is actually being managed to a point of directional management in US mutual funds global wide and all these things? 250 billion. 250 billion. What is that? It's 0.25% of Christian wealth actually being comfortable and actually failing at stewardship. I'm not saying to pull your thing out of Stone Street, Blackstone, Vanguard. Financially, you're doing much better than anyone who hasn't done a thing. But there is a movement happening. There's an index starting to be formed. There are people in the remnant in the financial world who are saying, you know what? We want to be able to have everyone as a customer, but we're never going to kick anybody out. And you can believe us that every single philanthropic dollar that goes out into the world will have absolutely nothing to do with something that God actually teaches us. It is contradictory. We need to bring in the wealth of God, centralized once again. Centralized once again. Where we are stewarding God. It's all His anyway. So Pro-Life Bank, we're in the process right now. Please pray. We're talking to approximately 6 or 7 people. We're looking for 2 $40 million investors. Just pray for them. They're considering actually matching somebody who's interested. $40 million, $80 million bank in a DFW. It comes with an equally yoked team who for the last 20 years, all they do is buy banks, grow it, and sell it. Buy banks, grow it, and sell it. They bought this one, they're growing it, and they're like, buy it, but man, we want to run with you. We believe that Pro-Life Bank proposed is going to be one of the most powerful needle-moving banks that America has ever seen. In this, I want you to know, entrepreneurs, listen very carefully. We have only come in the same thread: financial literacy, entrepreneurship, microloans. Have you ever heard anybody say, you know what we should do with ACSI, Associated Christian Schools International, that represent 150,000 Christian schools worldwide? And every single Christian school? We should give them microloans for micro-entrepreneurship. We've never talked about this. All we've said is, we need to be teaching everybody financial literacy and how to pay off your home. That's great. Great. But I don't want to influence America like the Green family. I don't want to influence America, if I'm being called to it, like the Chick-fil-A family, the Cathys. I feel called to do that and see and empower more than financial literacy. Ready? Hyper entrepreneurship in the Gen Z generation of America in schools. That's not gamified, but it's actually real, and on a website where schools compete for the Christian seed money, angel investors. And now you see, watch this, now you see young people getting that part of the brain active to actually do something. It might take a limbless man to kick him. Go and do something and make some difference in your life. With the profits, 20% tithe. With the profits, 50% reinvest in your school. 30% microloan seed money for Africa. Do you know how many trillions of dollars of generosity has gone out the window through corruption? A ton. Has it really stopped the death toll for hunger today? 25,000 today. 1,000 per hour. 700 died while I was up on this stage. Is generosity really working? I'm not saying don't be generous, but it is the business mountain, the entrepreneurs, and the financial ecosystem. James Mwangi from Equity Bank, Kenya, Nairobi, equally yoked Christian, took over a bankrupt bank 10 years ago. Equity Bank, #1 bank in Africa, $13 billion bank, representing 13% of the GDP of Kenya. You don't think they've got the ears of the government of Kenya? Oh, really? Oh, so actually entrepreneurship on that level could actually even put in alignment a national government? You better believe it, baby. Money, it's nothing, means nothing, unless it's used with purpose in the will of God. And you take nothing with you anyway. Last, real quick, Texas. Pray for Texas. I got a minute. Listen. Fiat currency, since it departed from being backed up by gold. Pray for Kevin D. Freeman of Dallas. They're passing legislature that is already constitutional on a federal level to allow Texas, who applied for a gold bullion in 2015, got it, built it in 2017. We have our own gold safe. 2 states are following suit, And we are seeing a recategorization of gold, not as an asset that would imply capital gains, but actually changing the entire category of gold as a legal fractional tender. This is not the first in the world. Texas is leading the charge, and I'm going to tell you, pray for Texas, because we are going to be the bull on that. Thus therein mitigating the risk of hyperinflation and further deflation of non-gold backed dollars. My time is up. If you want to go to prolifebank.com, see the story, go check it out, give us your survey. We want to be a bank to serve and mobilize the remnant who get it, who's running and are not crippled. We're ready to run, fight, and keep going in the name of Jesus with humility. God bless you. Thank you.